What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I just have one question. Is it the Celtics in 7? Is that really about to happen right now? They were down 3-0. It is 3-2 now, and they're playing with all the momentum and all the force. And I think it's kind of crazy. I want to point out probably the two biggest reasons why I think that this series is seemingly flipped towards the Celtics' favor right now. Before I do, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and if you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. But shout out to the Celtics because they're not rolling over, they're not quitting, and they're going with everything they got left. Now, I think there's two reasons that this series has seemingly switched over to the Celtics' favor, right? Because in the first three games, they weren't shooting the three very well, and Miami was shooting the three very well, right? I think that's the biggest thing. And then I think defensively, okay? We're going to start with the threes because Miami doesn't chuck up a lot of threes, right? They'll shoot between 30 to 32 a game. And then even tonight, they only had 23. But in the first three games, they would hit 13, 14, 15, 16 threes. And when you only shoot 30 of them and you're shooting a 50% clip, which is really hard to maintain, it's really hard to lose because you're getting quality shots, right? Boston wasn't, I feel like they were just missing a lot of open shots. And Miami was playing good basketball in the first three games, but Boston was missing a lot of shots that they normally make. And the last two games, they've reverted back to hitting those shots, and it feels like a lot of their looks are open looks. They're wide open threes. Derek White has 6 threes tonight, and pretty much all of them were wide open. And just in games 4 and 5, they had 18 threes in game 4 for the Celtics that they made, 16 tonight. And I think that's what it finished at, 16. Miami had just 9 tonight and 8 in game 4. So when you win the three-point battle by 20, 24 points, that's a huge swing in their favor. And I think Boston, on top of that, has just been the more aggressive team, which is kind of going to lead me to my next point with the defense, because they're running the Heat off the line. They're not giving them the looks. The looks are contested. They're tough. They're not nearly as open. And I think a big deal with that is Miami just doesn't have the shot creation that Boston does, hence why the looks are not as clean. So where Boston, I think, is getting a lot more open shots. And yes, they take a lot more threes. Boston's going to get up 40 to 50 threes a night, which is going to be 20% more than the Heat will, but that's how they play. That's what they want to do. And Miami's not that great. Once you get ran off the line, now they have to create for somebody else. And when you just don't have those guys, it's a little hard to hit those. It's a little hard to just win. It's a little hard to be competitive in these games, which these last two games have kind of gotten smacked around. And I think another thing with the defense is they're forcing a lot of turnovers, and that they're getting a lot of live ball turnovers tonight. I think there was 16 turnovers on Miami. I think they had I want to say it was 13 steals. Was it 13 steals? Let me check. Yes, it was 13 steals tonight, which those are live ball turnovers that are going transition points. You're getting guys like Jaylen Brown in transition who love to move. You get Tatum going, and you know what that leads to? When you're in transition, it's 3-on-2 or whatever. You kick to that corner, wide open 3, Grant Williams, Derek White, splash. Those kinds of things happen. And I think that's such a big difference in these live ball turnovers because of the defensive intensity. Because I think that overall Boston is just trying to make sure that Miami doesn't outwork them. And because that's how Miami's really gotten this far. They've just outworked their opponents. And Boston thought that they kind of just walked through them, like they did in the first round. I mean, they didn't really walk through the Hawks, but they definitely took them a little bit lightly, right? And now they're like, well, we're down 3-0. We definitely can't take these dudes lightly because this is a legit team that's earned their way there. And I feel like they kind of earned Boston's respect a little bit that way. But these last two games, it looks like the overall more talented team is winning, is coming out on top. And I want to talk about the battle of the star players too, because if we look at it, really tier A is Jayson Tatum and Jimmy Butler in this series. Those are tier A. Tier B is Jaylen Brown and Bam Adebayo. And tier C you can debate after that. But between tier A, Jayson Tatum for the most part has outplayed Jimmy Butler in this series. I think he's been the best player in this series, and most nights people were making a big deal about him not making a shot in the fourth quarter for games 1 through 3, even though I believe he had the same amount of fourth quarter points as Jimmy. So, but the difference was he was getting doubled a lot and guys weren't hitting open shots. Now, dudes are hitting the shots. He has 11 assists tonight, right? He comes out, he has 12 points in the first quarter. Just sets the tone. And he's legitimately one of probably I'll say top 3 players in elimination games in the league because he's had multiple 50 balls in elimination. Look at Game 7 against the Sixers. Those fans are still having nightmares about that. And then, these last 2 games, he was phenomenal in the last game with 30-something points, whatever it was, efficient. And then tonight he almost has a triple-double. I think he had 21, 11, and 8 or something like that. And he plays great defense on top of it. So, and I'm not knocking Jimmy at all on this because I think Jimmy's been amazing into the playoffs up to this point, but I think Tatum's having the better series. It's just my opinion. If you agree in the comments, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. But so I think when you're winning the head-to-head matchup between the stars, right? And Jimmy tonight only has 10 shots, which is he got outshot by Caleb Martin on his own team. Caleb Martin had 12 shots. There's no universe where the Heat are going to be successful if Jimmy Butler is not taking the lead bulk of the offense, especially when guys like Gabe Vincent are out too. And I think something that's really helping on the going back to the defensive point is Bam Adebayo had like one of the roughest games tonight. He shot the ball pretty well, but turnover-wise, it was bad. I think he had 6 or 7 turnovers, and it felt like any time he got in close, it was a turnover. Like he got double, triple teamed. Like Boston's aggressiveness and attention to detail and just like being balls to the wall was amazing because this is a team with its back against the wall and they're not quitting. And anytime Bam got low and, in games 1 through 3, those were dunks. Now he's got 2-3 bodies right there. And, sometimes he's not making the right read. He's getting ripped. And it's just that aggression that defense is leading to better offense and they're getting the open looks. So I think when you make life hard on Jimmy and he only gets 10 shots and then Bam has 6 turnovers and has looked a little flustered the last couple games, you're kind of making a recipe for success here because the Heat just don't have a lot of guys off of after that to create shots for others. So if Bam is their second lead guy other than maybe Lowry and Butler, what else do they really have, especially with Vincent being injured? As I said, it's tough for Miami. And, Boston just has those guys. That's the difference in the series, I think, is that the creators for each team. And going into this, Boston had more creators and the better creators, but obviously Miami getting a little dinged up sucks. And then I think just hitting threes and, taking as many threes and getting the open looks, like I said, I believe the open looks are coming straight from who's creating them, right? Jayson Tatum or Kyle Lowry. There's a big difference in who's creating those looks. And it's not a knock on Lowry, but after that, it just doesn't look good. So my question to everybody, is Boston going to pull this out in 7? Put your money where your mouth is. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes, I think they do. I just think that they found it at the utmost important time. And I'm rooting for a 3-0 comeback. Like, sue me. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like the video. But shout out Boston. They didn't roll over. It's 3-2 now. It was 3-0. I'm very, very curious if they're able to go into Miami and win that Game 6. Because if you got to go back to Boston and it's a 3-3 series and you were up 3-0, that's a tough task. Because now you're looking at a 4-game losing streak and that's how your season ends. I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy if that's how Miami's postseason run ends. But that's all I'm going to say right there. I think both teams have been awesome. But Boston, if they're able to pull this off, that'd be crazy. All right, I'm done. Peace.